Hi, welcome to Pop Culture Maniacs' podcast. Your host this week, as always, is me, Kieran Freemantle, and with me is Jean Henegan, our TV editor at Pop Culture Maniacs. And we are going to be talking about the popular sitcom Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is obviously a popular sitcom that originally started on Fox and ended up moving to NBC. It's lasted 7 seasons so far, and the 8th season is going to be its last season. Yeah, Jean, as you say, you're a fan of the show, aren't you?
I am. I'm one of the people who came late to the whole Mike Schur is a genius
Yeah,
situation,
yeah,
and so I've been catching up ever since.
yeah. Okay, I think I've been watching it pretty much from the beginning. It's of it because of where it comes out later in the UK than it does in the USA. Remember when it first started, it was on E4 and they were plastering ads all the time for it, and you just end up watching just out of interest, and yeah, pretty much enjoyed it straight away. And it's obviously probably one of the biggest sitcoms that I'm currently on at the moment.
Yeah, and it's managed to do kind of. I mean, Mike Schur's shows have very similar trajectories in a lot of ways, in that they kind of start off a little wobbly while all the characters are trying to figure out what they are. But by season 2, they've hit the ground running and they've figured out where each character fits within the story, and then things just become magical.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like a good description of certain things with season 1, because season 1, I'd like the two potential love, romances of you had obviously well, let's face it, it was clear from the start that Jake and Amy were secretly in love with secretly attracted to each other, and then they also had Charles and interested in Rosa. And obviously, I think that would have been an odd couple if they had shipped those two together.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm somebody also who came in with, less is more with Andy Samberg,
Yeah,
having seen him on SNL
yeah,
for years and all that. I was very impressed with how much he has reined in Jake to be like a fully fledged multidimensional character, which I was worried about in season 1. I was like, I don't know what Amy sees in him. But then it became clear that they're both very damaged, strange people. So it works out.
yeah. I think as the series has progressed, Jake has mellowed and matured quite a lot. Since obviously he was at first a giant man child who just happened to be a good detective, and yeah, he's all obviously got his issues like with his dad, which is like one of his big motivators. Hence why he sees Ray as a father figure.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to really like Jake, but he's just lovable and fun, and I really do enjoy watching him.
Yeah, and I think with for me, because well, because we don't get Saturday Night Live, I just saw him as part of like the Adam Sandler set. So that's what my worry about Andy Samberg is. But yeah, he's done well, because didn't he recently do a film for Hulu as well, which has did garner quite a lot of good reviews.
Yeah, it was shockingly good. I highly recommend it.
Ah, good. So yeah, and obviously someone like Stephanie Beatrix, she was sort of fairly well known beforehand. She was famous for doing it. She was Gloria's sister in Modern Family, what wasn't she? And she was in Short Term 13, and you got to think that casting director for that film was really on fire, wasn't he or she?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I personally I hadn't watched Modern Family, so to me, Stephanie Beatrice was a completely like new find, and I
yeah,
was very impressed.
yeah. I would say she is the best actress, because she is so different to her character. Because she's in real life, her voice is a lot higher pitched. She's a lot more colourful, probably a lot more nerdy than she is on the TV show. And she just does seem like a very fun presence in real life. I was obviously cheap, but completely different for the camera.
Yeah, and she's gonna be in the upcoming In the Heights film, so we'll get to
Yeah,
hear her sing.
yeah. I just think she is made. I heard a track of hers once on YouTube, and I think she is a pretty good singer. She should, I think probably she's the one that's done the best outside of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, since obviously being in the show, since obviously someone like Andy Samberg and Terry Crews are already fairly well known. Any
And
beforehand,
Andre Braugher has several Emmys, so he was doing
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I'll say I'll admit, Amy Santiago, she's my geeky crush. I would,
Okay.
yeah,
Everyone needs one.
yeah. I think it's just because I think out of all the cast, she was probably the Melissa. How do you pronounce her surname? Melissa.
Sorry about
Basically,
that. Fumero.
pardon?
Fumero.
Fumero, yeah. She is probably the one I think people were probably least familiar with as a cast member, because she was what she did in one of the American soaps, and I think she was in. She had a small role in Gossip Girl, so. And admittedly, I would like to see more of her outside of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I know in real life she's got 2 young kids, so she's probably not got much time to do other acting projects.
Yeah, but she's pretty busy. And I
Yeah,
mean, one of the interesting things too about the casting that both Melissa Fumero and Stephanie Beatriz talked about is that when they were both going up for their roles, they were surprised that they were willing to hire 2 Latina actresses.
yes, yeah, no, yeah, I heard that
Crazy.
story, because Stephanie Beatrix was saying like she auditioned for Amy as well, and then and you say they thought that they would only ever have one Latino character. So when she found out she didn't get it, and but they ended up auditioning her for another role, Megan, which evolved into Rosa.
Which is incredible. I mean, I couldn't imagine their show without both of them. So
Yeah, yeah. But then if you think it's set in New York, which is probably one of the most diverse cities in America. So, because I like compare, say, Friends, where they've got pretty much the whitest version of New York on screen.
very true.
It's just all quite. I personally describe it as comfort viewing. It's like one of those sort of shows you could easily just whack on if you're just watch an episode on Netflix, or if it happens to be on TV. Just and I think they rarely do a dud, and they also sometimes can be quite profound as well. Like I think my personal favorite episode was Moo Moo, the one where Terry was racially profiled.
Yeah, I mean they've done a lot of great work, and I mean I think it all comes down to the teams that Mike Schur and Dan Gore put together, because their track record is sensational with not only finding great actors to play parts, and with Parks and Rec and Good Place and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but they also put together incredible writing staffs with great depth that are able to bring up important topics and still make them funny.
Yeah, yeah, because I think that's the risk when you go serious, is that all the fun the humor gets saps out, because they have to be humorous, that have to be serious even. Um, but I think, as you say, Brooklyn Nine-Nine managed that they could still be humorous whilst tackling a serious subject.
Yeah, and there's a proven track record, with I mean, Parks and Rec really laid the groundwork in a lot of ways for, NBC trusting Brooklyn Nine-Nine and bringing it back, and trusting, the 2 showrunners, Mike Schur and Dan Gore, to really, do what they want to do and let them play in their own sandbox. And I think it's shown with how much everybody has grown on the show, and just, you can trust them to do a more serious episode. And considering what they're planning to tackle in their final season, I trust them not to screw up some of the more touchy, difficult, complex
Yeah.
topics they're going to have to cover.
Yes, and I think that's one of the reasons why the show's ending, is because of recent events in the US. Since obviously, I think so. Obviously, some people are not sort of thinking you can't really make police like light-hearted, fun people, but yeah, it's a
Yeah,
tricky.
I trust a comedy to handle it better than I trust dramas,
Yeah,
because, and I mean, I haven't been keeping up on my Law and Order SVU, but I my assumption is it's harder to do really important storylines that don't come off as maudlin on a drama. Whereas with a comedy, people are expecting the laughs. So when you can inject some seriousness and dramatic elements to really hit home on things, particularly when you have as diverse a cast as we have with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I trust it more to find the right balance.
Yeah, I think with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they have addressed these sort of issues already in some form or another, because obviously, like Holt's story being like an openly gay black cop in the 80s, he obviously suffered a lot of prejudice prejudice and obviously the sort of tackled things like police corruption and so you get the idea that they
Yeah,
get.
yeah. They have a track record of doing things the right way.
Yeah,
So I have faith that it's going to be handled as delicately and as well as it could possibly be.
there's also apparently that the final season's only going to be 10 episodes long instead of because under Fox it was 22 or 23, and then it sort of dwindled down when it went to NBC.
Yeah, I don't mind that as much. I mean,
Yeah,
I think, modern viewing audiences are used to only consuming 10 to 13 episodes
yeah,
now with
yeah,
streaming. I mean,
yeah,
I'm rewatching an drama from the 90s right now, and like every season's 26 episodes, and it's exhausting.
yeah. I think as you described to me in an earlier podcast, because of American TV, it's the or it used to, or at least it used to be, the race to syndication, isn't it? You get to 100, try and get to 100 episodes so that you make money forever afterwards.
Yep. And nowadays, syndication is not nearly as lucrative as it used to be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Also, it's quite Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I find to be quite an interesting example, because I think the perception from abroad that Americans take, or particularly Hollywood takes acclaimed shows and then they remake crappy remakes. Brooklyn Nine-Nine being the rare example of an American show getting a crappy remake.
Wait, who's making a crappy remake of
Oh
it?
no, it's already been out. It's a French Canadian version of it.
I mean, I think that could be really funny.
Yeah, it's all like seeing the trailer for it. It looked like it does not deviate very much from the original version. Melissa Fumero, she has complained about it because they redone Rosa and the Rosa and Amy roles have now become white characters instead of Hispanic.
They should have at least made them like First Nations or somebody of some sort of.
Yeah, you'd have thought. Yeah, it's just I can understand. Yes, that in French, in Quebec, they might not have as many Latino people, but as you say, something could have gone for could have mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, there is
I
diversity in like Quebec. Like I've been there. There's diversity.
yeah, I was gonna. It's Really, I can't really find much information because, as I said, it's only been shown in like in Quebec, like on a streaming service there, and I can't find anything like reviews or anything like that. So I don't know how well the show has actually been. So any Quebecers, we'd love to know.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I've enjoyed a few Quebecois dramas in the past, but I definitely would like to see what they're doing with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think as well, one of the big things about it is they have their traditional Halloween heist. So of it, and I think it's all nearly up there with The Simpsons with sort of Halloween tradition, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's the joy of every season is that episode.
yeah. I think it's so you notice sort of like the evolution, sort of like the first, because obviously it was finding its fear. It was only like 5 episodes in, so the first Halloween heist was sort of more of a traditional episode, A plot, B plot, C plot. So and then so then it just sort of gradually evolved into tradition. So second one was A plot and B plot, and then it evolved into what we know as sort of like getting crazier and crazier.
And better and better.
Yeah. Yes, I think when I wrote my article, my favorite, I think the best one was the fifth one, because it was obviously the one where Jake proposes to Amy, and I also hold the Amy to win quite highly, because again, my geeky crush, and I think she just won it on the fly, really.
That was definitely my favorite one when Amy
Yeah.
won it.
Yeah. Yes. So you have to love the gift of her when they put the crown on her head. And also find it quite fun with season 3, because I didn't know this until after the fact that Melissa Fumero was pregnant during the 3rd season.
Yeah, they did a very good job hiding it.
Yeah, that's why I thought. I didn't think. I thought that was a really clever way of writing her pregnancy in without actually making her character pregnant, with her going undercover as a pregnant woman.
Yeah, I was watching it all on streaming because I came in late to the game, but I kept having to Google, like, is Melissa Fumero pregnant in season? And I was like, that's really good.
Yeah, it's like watching like one episode, like they sort of like they doing like their training for the bomb squad, and they obviously they all have to wear the like bomb protection suits, so that's a way to hide obviously her belly.
Which is better than just putting her in oversized sweaters and making her carry laundry baskets through the precinct for no reason.
Well, that's what they did in the 7th season. They did actually have to lampshade it, because it was a lot more obvious she was pregnant, and even before she actually was on the show.
The dangers of pregnant cast members.
Yeah,
it's always fun to see what they do.
Yeah, I see. That's so selfish, isn't it? The show comes first.
Kieran is joking. He's not serious.
That's what you think. I'm not like that at all. I think obviously, I think for the show as well, I think we haven't mentioned them yet, but was it Dirk Blocker and Joel McKinnon Miller, or Hitchcock and Scully, because there's obviously a great role for them, considering they're a little on the older side.
That's the thing that I really love about Mike Schur's stable of shows, is that people who like start out as background actors, like Retta on Parks and Rec, evolve into like these really fun characters throughout the course of the show. And just because him and the writers see a spark and just run with it. And I mean, Hitchcock and Scully are just incredibly funny.
Yeah, I think with Hitchcock, it's quite fun because obviously he just has no filter. So he just says, he's an absolute perv. He's shown me like one. Is it in the 7th season? Like, could somebody give us an example of the stereotypes? The Irish are a bunch of potato eating drunks, and the gays. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah. Yep. I have a suspicion that he's going to be involved in some of the storylines coming up this season.
Yeah, because as you say, it's like all this evolution, and there's quite a lot of things just that do just tickle me. Like I like obviously I think one of the most famous cold openings was the I Want It That Way singing, where obviously Jake gets a bit too involved.
That was actually what made me want to watch the show, was that cold open when I saw it.
Yeah, I kind of like was it Terry and Jake doing the Elvis hunting song when they bring in the bring back Parlov, the fantasy writer.
That was also a very good one that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, and I was going to say with the Caleb, the serial killer, in my own headcanon, I like to think he's just Mr. Glasgow from the Goldbergs, that after years of abuse from the Goldbergs, he just snapped and became a child-eating cannibal.
I feel like that tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just my headcanon of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, and some of my favorite bits are the stuff whenever Cheddar shows up It's really
Oh,
delightful.
oh yeah, I want him to win the last Halloween heist. I don't care what what they have to do to get there. I just want that to be the final Halloween heist win.
That would be incredible. And I also love that like Mark Evan Jackson as Kevin Holt's husband is
Yeah,
just, I mean, he's great in everything because he's got such a good like shtick down.
yeah,
But just that relationship is so good, and it's never really played for laughs, which I love,
yeah,
and it's really lovely.
yeah. I think that what I like is that they are just two, they're sort of obviously highly educated men, but they're basically pretty normal. It's not they are not a stereotype at all.
No, and they absolutely have their flaws and their neuroses, and they play those up just as much as they do with everybody else, and they're treated exactly the same, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Because of obviously, I mean, they did it, kind of the first episode. It was meant to be made as quite a surprise. So even though Gina says, "Do you get a gay vibe from him?" I don't think. Admittedly, I didn't think that. Didn't think that when watching the first ever episode, like the twist being that he's gay.
Well, it's also because it plays a bit on Andre Braugher's past in like Homicide: Life on the Street, where he's this very serious, focused detective, and it felt to me in the first episode that he was basically just playing a comedic extension of that character.
Yeah,
And so I never suspected that was going to be like the surprise.
yeah, yeah. And obviously the other thing, obviously with Stephanie Beatrix, when she came out as a bi in real life, because they made Rosa bisexual as well.
Which was also really lovely because
Yeah,
there's not enough like really genuine bisexual representation on television. And so to have another instance of it, particularly in a comedy where again it's not the butt of the joke, which is
yeah.
also really nice to see.
So, do you have any sort of particular favorite episodes or any season you think is the best?
I'm kind of partial. I mean, pretty much every Halloween heist is my favorite episode of every season.
Yeah,
And I'm not somebody who genuinely ships characters, even though I think, like Amy and Jake destined to be together. Great that they got together, love it. So for me, it's more like episodes that are just fun. Those are the ones that I really gravitate to because, like you said, it's kind of like emotional popcorn. When you're having a bad day, I'll flip on a Parks and Rec or I'll flip on a Brooklyn Nine-Nine and watch it. I don't feel like this rush to finish it or a rush to keep watching. It's just kind of a nice security blanket to have.
yeah,
So I enjoy those kind of episodes that, make me smile, make me laugh. Yeah, those are the ones I enjoy the
yeah.
most.
I think it's like it's all for me like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's like a show like Friends or classic era Simpsons. You probably end up only wanting to watch one episode, and you end up probably watching about four in a row without even thinking of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think yeah, some of my personal favorites. Obviously, I said Moo Moo. Quite like a lot of the Die Hard referencey ones, so like Yippee Kayak or and the what was it the 99th episode where they have to travel from Los Angeles to New York. Also quite like was it the like Amy drunkenness scale. And I think someone points out when Amy reaches 4 drink Amy, it always seems to be Rosa that gets the battle. Well, horny Amy.
You didn't realize that, but yeah. I mean, drunk Amy is the funniest Amy ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also quite fun when you see when Amy's quite has a rage moment. It's like, what if Melissa Romero was cast as Rosa?
Yeah, that angry Amy is very scary. Like angry Rosa is terrifying, but there's something about Amy when she's in a rage that you just are like, this is not right. This is extra scary.
Yeah, admittedly, it's like it's like when she's smashing up the microwave, and you're thinking, is it wrong that I'm turned on by this?
Oh my god.
Yes, and but it's like as well, like Stephanie Beatrix as well, when she does get to use her natural voice as um, in like obviously like when she's like huffed up on the cough medicine or cold medicine, and like the one way like oh go do that goes when Jake and Amy are trying to search for not Jake and Rose are trying to search for Amy, go, don't worry babe, you'll find me.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I do think it's good that they're at least ending it whilst the show's still on a high, because I mean, as I said, from a foreign perspective, Hollywood has a reputation for just keep flogging a dead horse. They just because obviously Simpsons and Family Guy are great examples of shows that should really just die, and I'm sure we can think of loads of other shows that did overstay their welcome.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely a more of a network issue. Like network television in the United States seems to do that. I mean, there's no reason Law and Order SVU should be on, like, I think it's 20th season by now, 19th season. Like, there's no reason. It's just there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's ending. They know what they're doing. They know how they're gonna wrap it up, and I suspect it's gonna be what we all hope it to be.
Yeah, just be interested to see what will be the next step of for the characters, where they'll go, and obviously what all the various actors will do as well afterwards, because obviously I think Andy Samberg and Stephanie Beatrix, they're pretty much set. Terry Crews is again pretty. He knows how to play to his strengths. With Melissa Fumero, she's got a few voice roles at least as well.
Yeah, I think Andre Braugher is gonna land on his feet. He has the ability to do whatever he wants to do at this point. So
yeah,
I think they'll be good.
Yeah. Also, it's quite fun that Andre Braugher and but Stephanie Beatrix both were also in BoJack Horseman as well.
Yes, and they were spectacular.
Yeah. Especially I think Stephanie Beatrix because she obviously had that that very emotional storyline in the 5th season.
Yeah, she had a rough go of it on BoJack. Although I mean, everybody on BoJack had a rough go of it. That's just BoJack.
Yeah. No, and again, because I think Stephanie Beatrix, because of the way she throws her voice, she can easily do lots of voice roles without much trouble, because she was unrecognizable in the second Lego movie.
Yeah, I didn't even realize she was in that until after.
Yeah. So I think certainly, like, this is sort of like turning into our Big Mouth episode. We're just gushing over the show.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on for hours, but I don't know if people want to listen to us just gush over it for hours.
Well, I think we could just. I think there's only a certain point where you can go through doing references to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I think we might have to. I'll say we might have to conclude our conversation here. So thank you very much to our listeners. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever. Make sure you check out popculturemaniacs.com. We have loads of great articles. We'll join you again soon. Cheers. Bye.